What if death wasn't the end? What if in those final moments you experienced an awakening so profound it completely transformed your understanding of life itself? Monica James had such an experience, a journey through the afterlife that left her forever changed. In this deeply moving story, Monica faces the ultimate decision: return to life or continue her spiritual journey. What she learned about the nature of existence, consciousness, and the soul's purpose will make you rethink your own approach to life. Join us as we explore how her second chance at life became a powerful catalyst for transformation. Could it be that your own journey, too, could be changed forever with a shift in perspective? Let's dive into the extraordinary revelations from Monica's near-death experience. Monica James' experience of death, as described in her powerful story, provides an intriguing perspective on the soul's journey after physical death, particularly the emotional and spiritual awakening that can occur. This narrative brings forth deep insights about the soul's transcendence beyond the physical form and the subsequent detachment from earthly attachments. Monica's story of her near-death experience is not just a personal account. It touches on universal themes of consciousness, liberation, and the role of the soul. To understand these concepts more fully, we can explore how these ideas are reflected in both spiritual teachings and real-world figures who have experienced transformative shifts in consciousness, like renowned leaders and thinkers. The sensation of detachment, a separation from the physical body. Monica's near-death experience begins in a hospital room where she is physically disconnected from the world by a heart failure. She describes an overwhelming sense of floating outside her own body, an out-of-body experience, OB, in which she watches her lifeless form from above. This feeling of detachment, in which she is no longer bound by the physical limits of her body, is a powerful realization that the soul is separate from the body and can exist independently. This concept of detachment from the body is deeply rooted in various spiritual traditions, particularly in Buddhism. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the impermanence of the physical body and the importance of recognizing the difference between the temporary material world and the eternal nature of the soul or consciousness. Monica's awakening reflects this understanding. She is no longer confined to her physical form or her suffering, which was once tied to her health issues and emotional struggles. The sensation of detachment marks her transition from suffering to peace. She describes feeling a strange peace that envelops her, which further emphasizes the Buddhist notion of liberation from suffering, dukkha. This release from bodily constraints can be understood as a form of spiritual freedom. In a way, Monica's experience mirrors the journeys of powerful figures who have transcended their physical realities for deeper truths. Take, for example, Nelson Mandela, who, after spending 27 years in prison, experienced not just a physical liberation but a profound spiritual awakening, where he reconciled his internal suffering with a higher sense of purpose. Mandela often spoke of his personal transformation, recognizing that true freedom comes not just from physical release, but from emotional and spiritual release as well. The shift from confusion to spiritual awareness. As Monica floats above her body, she initially feels confused. The transition from life to death is disorienting, and it's only after a short period that she comes to the realization that she is indeed dead. However, this moment of confusion is fleeting, and it gives way to a deep spiritual awareness. She becomes acutely aware of her surroundings, her inner state, and the nature of her existence. This shift from confusion to clarity mirrors what many spiritual traditions call enlightenment, a state where one gains insight into the true nature of reality. Monica's experience reflects the concept of moksha, or liberation in Hinduism, which is often described as a shift in consciousness, a spiritual awakening that allows the individual to see beyond the material world and realize their oneness with the universe. Her initial confusion and later clarity reflect the process of letting go of the ego, which is central to both Buddhism and Hinduism. This shift in perspective is not dissimilar to what was experienced by figures such as Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi's spiritual awakening in his earlier life led him to adopt the principle of ahimsa, nonviolence, and to deeply challenge the oppressive social structures in India. Like Monica, Gandhi realized that physical constraints, such as being imprisoned or persecuted, could not bind the true spirit. For Gandhi, his awakening led to a life of profound spiritual purpose, much like Monica's journey toward understanding her true essence beyond the physical, the freedom from pain, the unburdening of the soul. One of the most significant aspects of Monica's story is the unburdening she experiences after her death. She describes how, in death, she was freed from the physical and emotional pain that had plagued her during life. In the hospital, she had suffered from debilitating health issues, which had left her exhausted and disconnected from the joy of living. But in the moments after her death, all of that disappeared. This release from suffering and the experience of spiritual freedom aligns with the teachings of many ancient spiritual traditions, particularly in Buddhism, where the cessation of suffering, nirvana, is the ultimate goal. The Buddha taught that the attachment to worldly desires, pain, and suffering creates a cycle of rebirth, samsara. But once one transcends these attachments, the soul is free from the cycle. Similarly, the legendary physicist Albert Einstein, in his later years, reflected on the nature of life and death with a sense of peaceful acceptance, understanding that life is transient and that the pursuit of knowledge and truth is paramount. His ability to detach from personal suffering and find peace in the grand scheme of the universe demonstrates a kind of spiritual release, much like Monica's experience. While Monica's pain was personal and rooted in her health struggles, her experience is a universal one. Many people who undergo near-death experiences report a similar release from the physical ailments that once held them captive. This moment of liberation allows them to see beyond the limitations of the body, gaining access to a higher state of awareness and connection with the universe. Transcendence and the role of consciousness. Monica's journey through the afterlife highlights the key concept of transcendence, when the soul evolves beyond its earthly limitations and becomes aware of a greater, interconnected reality. This transcendence is deeply spiritual in nature and speaks to the interconnectedness of all souls, beyond the bounds of time and space. It emphasizes that the true essence of the soul is not tethered to the body and its physical limitations, but is free to explore deeper dimensions of existence. Her experience of transcending her body aligns with modern-day understandings of consciousness, which recognize that consciousness itself might not be confined to the brain or the body. The philosopher and spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle, for instance, speaks of the importance of being present and detaching from the ego, which aligns closely with the kind of realization Monica had after her death. Tolle's teachings suggest that the key to spiritual awakening lies in transcending the identification with the body and mind, recognizing that we are not our thoughts or physical form, but the consciousness observing them. Monica's story offers a profound understanding of this concept, suggesting that death is not the end, but rather a transition to a deeper spiritual awareness. The peace she felt in the absence of her physical form illustrates that consciousness, in its purest form, exists independently of the body, and that true freedom comes from recognizing this. Monica's encounter with the being of light serves as a pivotal moment in her near-death experience, embodying a profound spiritual truth that resonates with many people who have undergone similar experiences. The being is not just an abstract image or fleeting thought. It's described as a tangible presence, full of benevolence, love, and peace. This encounter provides Monica with an overwhelming sense of comfort, tranquility, and safety, emotions that most people crave but often find elusive in their daily lives. In exploring this encounter, we see a reflection of an idea that is central to many spiritual traditions. That peace is not something that can be bought, earned, or attained through external accomplishments, but something that emerges when we let go of the stress, ego, and material concerns that bind us to the physical world. The being of light symbolizes this very truth. True peace is found in surrender and in allowing ourselves to connect with something greater than ourselves, whether that be the divine, the universe, or the collective consciousness. This experience echoes the stories of many powerful figures throughout history, including those who were known for their deep spirituality and inner peace. Take, for example, the Dalai Lama, who speaks frequently about the importance of compassion, letting go of attachments, and embracing inner peace. In his life, he exemplifies the idea that true peace comes not from external circumstances, but from an inner state of being. His teachings often emphasize that peace arises from compassion and the ability to release anger, hatred, and fear, much like Monica's experience where she felt a sense of surrender to the light and the love that enveloped her. Similarly, the late Nelson Mandela, after spending 27 years imprisoned and fighting against apartheid in South Africa, reached a deep spiritual awakening. In his later years, Mandela spoke about his quest for reconciliation and forgiveness, both for himself and for his country. His journey was one of moving beyond hatred and fear, and his ability to surrender to a higher ideal, freedom, peace, and justice, mirrored the peace that Monica encountered with the being of light. Just as Monica experienced the relief of releasing the burdens of physical life, Mandela found peace in letting go of resentment and embracing the idea of a harmonious future for all. Monica's encounter with light also points to the idea of divine energy, a force that transcends individual experience and connects all beings. This energy isn't just external, but something we can tap into when we remove the distractions of our worldly concerns. It is a concept that many spiritual teachers have spoken about, including Eckhart Tolle, a modern spiritual teacher who advocates for presence and stillness as the gateway to divine energy. Tolle often teaches that when we relinquish our attachment to the past and future and live fully in the present, we access the peace that is inherent in the world around us. Similarly, Monica's experience of peace was tied to her release from the constraints of the past, her suffering and health issues, and her willingness to embrace the present moment in its purest, most untainted form. Monica's story also reveals that peace is not a passive state, but one that requires deep surrender. The act of letting go, of releasing control, is a recurring theme in many spiritual traditions. In Buddhism, this idea is central to the practice of non-attachment, where individuals learn to let go of desires, expectations, and the need for control. The Buddha taught that the root cause of suffering lies in attachment to the self and material desires. Monica's lesson about surrendering to the love and comfort that the universe provides echoes this teaching. When we let go, we open ourselves to divine peace and healing. In a broader sense, this concept is echoed in the life of figures such as Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Inc., who famously said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward." Jobs, who was known for his relentless pursuit of innovation, also experienced a shift in his mindset when facing his terminal illness. In his final days, he reflected on his life and admitted that his relentless pursuit of success and achievement had caused him to overlook the more meaningful aspects of existence: connection, love, and peace. Jobs' reflections resonate with Monica's encounter, where peace was not found in material success or accomplishments, but in surrendering to a higher truth and finding comfort in something greater than oneself. The encounter with the being of light in Monica's experience is not merely a personal revelation. It is a universal truth that transcends individual experience. It serves as a reminder that peace is available to us all, but it requires a willingness to let go. For many people, this can be a difficult concept to grasp, especially in a world where success and achievement are often seen as the ultimate measures of self-worth. But Monica's story challenges this notion. By surrendering to the love and comfort of the universe, she found the peace she had longed for, and it was not dependent on anything external. This idea is also reflected in the work of spiritual leaders like Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk who has spoken about the transformative power of mindfulness and inner peace. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches that peace begins with us, by being present, accepting ourselves, and letting go of the distractions that keep us from experiencing the here and now. His teachings align with the peace Monica felt when she encountered the being of light. It was not about a change in her circumstances, but a profound internal shift that allowed her to experience peace in the most unimaginable way. Ultimately, Monica's encounter with light represents a powerful spiritual lesson. Peace is not something we acquire, but something we align with. The being of light was not just a symbol of divine love, but an embodiment of the peace that arises when we let go of our attachments and embrace the higher truth of existence. This is a reminder that peace is always available to us, not as something we can chase, but as something we can surrender to. It's in the quiet moments of reflection, in letting go of control, and in connecting with the divine energy that flows through all of us. As we navigate our own lives, it's worth reflecting on Monica's experience and considering how we might bring more peace into our own lives. Are we holding onto old wounds, resentments, or attachments that keep us from experiencing true freedom? What would it take to surrender to the peace that is already available to us, just as Monica did in her encounter with the being of light? These are questions that invite introspection and perhaps a deeper understanding of how we can live more peacefully and authentically. Monica's journey through the review of her life is a crucial moment in her near-death experience, one that carries profound spiritual significance. This phase, in which Monica relives key moments from her past, emphasizes the Buddhist principle of karma, the idea that every thought, word, and action has consequences, not just in this life but potentially in the next. Through Monica's review, we learn about the deeper impact of our decisions and interactions, offering an invitation to reflect on our own lives with greater mindfulness and compassion. The power of reflection, viewing life through new eyes. As Monica relives her life, she is forced to look at it not from the perspective of a person who is alive and driven by desires, but from a detached, spiritual standpoint, free from ego. This shift allows her to view her past with new clarity, seeing moments she once considered insignificant as pivotal turning points. Her realization that even small actions have profound meaning is a powerful spiritual lesson. It reveals that every moment in life is meaningful, and that the consequences of our choices ripple far beyond what we often realize. This notion resonates strongly with the teachings of famous figures like Martin Luther King Jr., who emphasized the weight of individual actions in shaping the world. King famously said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." His life was a testament to the profound impact one person's actions can have, not just in their immediate circle, but on a global scale. Just as Monica reflects on her own life with a deeper awareness of the impact of her actions, King's life illustrates the broader truth that our choices shape the world around us. His commitment to justice and nonviolence was a direct reflection of the understanding that each individual has the power to influence the collective experience. Similarly, Princess Diana's life also exemplifies the concept of karma through her actions. Despite being a member of the British royal family, Diana used her position to promote humanitarian causes, including the fight against landmines. She recognized the deep impact of her actions on others, choosing to use her influence for positive change. Diana's story serves as an example of how even small acts of kindness can have a lasting, far-reaching impact, much like Monica's realization during her life review. Karma and the accumulation of actions. In her review, Monica sees both the moments where she acted out of kindness and those where she acted selfishly. The significant point here is that the review was not an external judgment, but an internal process. Monica saw her life through her own eyes, feeling the weight of her actions as though they were her own. This internal judgment aligns with the Buddhist view of karma, where the consequences of our actions accumulate over time. This is not a punishment, but an opportunity for growth. By seeing the consequences of her actions, Monica is not condemned, but offered the chance to understand how her choices shaped her life and others' lives. In the Buddhist tradition, karma is understood not merely as a form of moral retribution, but as the natural law of cause and effect. Each decision, no matter how small, contributes to the accumulation of karmic energy. This understanding can be seen in the life of someone like Oprah Winfrey, whose journey has been one of constant reflection and growth. Oprah's success is not only a result of her hard work, but also of her genuine compassion and empathy for others. She has built her career on the understanding that every interaction with another person has the potential to leave a lasting impact, whether positive or negative. In one of her most famous quotes, Oprah says, "When you know better, you do better." This reflects the essence of karma and personal growth. Like Monica, Oprah has gone through periods of introspection, reviewing her past and recognizing how her actions, words, and thoughts have influenced not only her own life, but the lives of others as well. The weight of her actions, like Monica's, isn't about external judgment, but about understanding the cumulative effect of one's choices and striving to do better in the future. The sobering reality of karma. Monica's realization about karma is sobering. Every decision, no matter how minor, contributes to the trajectory of our lives and potentially the lives of others, and may even shape our next life. This is a humbling thought that encourages greater mindfulness in our daily lives. If we are aware of the lasting impact of our actions, we might choose more consciously, with greater compassion, and a deeper understanding of the interconnection between all beings. This concept mirrors the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, who famously said, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." Gandhi's life was a testament to this idea. His actions, grounded in nonviolence and compassion, were not just a political strategy, but a reflection of his deep awareness of how one's choices shape the world. Just as Monica learned through her life review, Gandhi understood that small acts of kindness and nonviolence accumulate into greater spiritual and societal transformation. His work in the Indian independence movement was grounded in his belief in karma, that through right action, one could create a better world. In contemporary times, we also see examples of people using their awareness of karma to make positive changes. The actor and philanthropist Keanu Reeves, known for his humility and generosity, has often spoken about his desire to give back. Despite his immense wealth and fame, he maintains a down-to-earth attitude and has used his fortune to help others, often anonymously. This behavior shows an awareness of how actions, especially those of kindness and generosity, reverberate in the world. Just as Monica learned through her own review, Keanu's understanding of karma shows that each moment of selflessness adds to the positive energy that shapes the world. Mindfulness and the path forward. Monica's life review was a profound reminder of the importance of living with mindfulness, compassion, and awareness. This is the essence of karma, living with the knowledge that our actions, no matter how small, matter. As we navigate through life, we are constantly shaping our own future and the future of those around us. The lesson here is to live with awareness, to choose kindness, and to act with a sense of purpose. The Dalai Lama, in his teachings, often emphasizes that our prime purpose in life is to help others, and if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. This aligns with the realization Monica had in her life review. Every action, even those that seem insignificant, can either contribute to healing or cause harm. When we act with kindness and understanding, we are not only improving our own lives, but also creating positive karma that impacts the world around us. Monica's review reminds us that life is a series of choices, and those choices accumulate. They define who we are and who we become. Just as Monica recognized the impact of her actions, we too are called to reflect on our lives and consider how we can live more mindfully, choosing actions that align with love, compassion, and understanding. Each moment provides an opportunity to add to the collective good, to heal the wounds we have caused, and to build a future based on peace and harmony. Monica's journey through the afterlife, as she witnesses the crossroads of souls, provides a powerful reflection on the nature of the soul's journey after death. The older man guiding her in this realm explains that souls take different paths based on the choices they made in life. This insight ties directly into the Buddhist teachings on karma and rebirth, offering a perspective that is far from linear. Instead, the soul's journey is deeply influenced by the actions, thoughts, and decisions made in the past, revealing the profound impact of our choices on the afterlife. The concept of karma and rebirth, the idea that souls follow different paths after death based on their earthly choices, aligns with the Buddhist understanding of karma. In Buddhism, karma refers to the law of cause and effect, where every action, whether good or bad, influences the future experiences of the individual. Monica's experience at the crossroads highlights the fluid nature of this journey, where souls are not bound to a predetermined destiny, but are instead shaped by their actions and intentions. This understanding is mirrored in the lives of powerful figures who have dedicated their lives to helping others and promoting positive change. Take the Dalai Lama, for example. His teachings often center around the idea of karma, how our actions shape not just our present, but our future lives. The Dalai Lama's own life reflects this idea of spiritual evolution, as he continues to advocate for compassion, kindness, and nonviolence. His own journey, much like the soul's Monica witnesses at the crossroads, has been shaped by the choices he has made in his life. In the same way, Martin Luther King Jr.'s work in the civil rights movement can be seen through the lens of karma and rebirth. King dedicated his life to fighting against racial injustice, promoting love, nonviolence, and equality. His actions, grounded in his deep understanding of morality and righteousness, created an impact that is still felt today. For King, his life was a manifestation of the belief that one's actions create a ripple effect, not just in the present, but into the future. King's spiritual teachings are rooted in the same understanding of karma and the consequences of one's choices, much like the wisdom shared by the older man guiding Monica. The suffering of souls weighed down by regret. The older man's explanation of some souls lingering in places where regret weighs heavily is particularly insightful. This is not a realm of punishment, but of suffering, a space where the soul must confront the consequences of its actions, specifically the actions that caused harm to others. The idea that the soul must face its past is consistent with the concept of karmic retribution. In Buddhism, it is believed that the soul is not merely judged, but rather is guided to recognize the effects of its actions on others. This recognition, though difficult, is essential for spiritual growth. In real-world terms, this concept can be seen in the experiences of those who have faced extreme regret or guilt in their lives. Take, for example, the case of former U.S. President Bill Clinton, who in the late 1990s faced public humiliation and regret due to the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Clinton later publicly expressed deep remorse for his actions, acknowledging how they affected his family, his career, and the public trust. His public acknowledgement of regret and his subsequent efforts to mend relationships can be seen as an example of confronting one's past and seeking redemption. Although this is not a direct parallel to the spiritual realm, it reflects the process of facing the consequences of one's actions and finding a path forward. Another example comes from the life of former apartheid leader F.W. de Klerk. After the end of apartheid, de Klerk publicly acknowledged the wrongs of his regime and expressed regret for the suffering it caused. While his apology and admission did not erase the pain caused by apartheid, his ability to confront the past and take responsibility was a crucial step toward healing. This notion of confronting past actions, whether in a political, personal, or spiritual sense, aligns with the suffering Monica witnesses in the afterlife, where souls must face their past without external judgment but through an inner reckoning. The choice to move forward, free will in the afterlife. One of the most important aspects of Monica's journey is the reassurance she receives from the being of light that her soul is on the right path. However, this being also emphasizes that it is still Monica's choice how she moves forward. This concept of choice and free will in the afterlife echoes a core belief in many spiritual teachings. The idea that, even in death, the soul retains agency. While the soul may confront its past actions, it is ultimately the soul's decision whether to continue on the path of growth or remain stuck in regret and suffering. This idea mirrors the teachings of Viktor Frankl, a neurologist, psychiatrist, and Holocaust survivor, who wrote extensively about the power of choice in even the most dire of circumstances. In his book Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl emphasizes that while we cannot always control the events in our lives, we always retain the power to choose our response to those events. Frankl's philosophy aligns with the idea that, even in the face of suffering and the consequences of past actions, individuals have the ability to choose how they move forward. This is the essence of what Monica is being taught in the spirit realm. Her soul is on the right path, but it is still her choice how to continue her journey. This notion of free will in the afterlife is a source of hope and empowerment. It suggests that the soul is not condemned to eternal suffering or punishment, but instead is given the opportunity to evolve, to learn from its past, and to make different choices moving forward. This concept challenges the more traditional deterministic views of the afterlife seen in some religious teachings, where judgment and punishment are seen as inevitable. Instead, Monica's experience suggests that the afterlife is not a place of judgment, but a place of reflection and transformation. The role of the light being and spiritual guidance. The light being that accompanies Monica throughout her journey serves as a guide, providing reassurance and wisdom as Monica confronts the paths available to her. This figure of light represents the divine energy that offers guidance, not as a form of punishment, but as a nurturing force that helps the soul evolve. It mirrors the role of spiritual guides in many traditions, who help individuals navigate through difficult times and confront the consequences of their actions. The light being reassures Monica that her soul is on the right path, but still gives her the freedom to choose her next steps. This concept of spiritual guidance can be found in the teachings of religious leaders like the Buddha, who guided his followers toward enlightenment, not by imposing a rigid set of rules, but by teaching them how to recognize their own spiritual truths. Similarly, figures like Mother Teresa provided guidance and love to those in need, not by judging them, but by helping them navigate their own spiritual journeys. In these examples, guidance is offered with compassion and understanding, much like the light being's reassurance to Monica. Monica's decision to either return to the living or continue her spiritual journey represents a profound moment of personal reflection and choice, grounded in deep spiritual themes like those found in Buddhist teachings on samsara, the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Her journey is not just about death and the afterlife, but also about the ongoing evolution of the soul, and her decision highlights the intersection of personal growth, responsibility, and the choices we make about our own paths. This pivotal moment is rich with themes of transformation, the human condition, and the potential for spiritual growth even beyond the physical world. The cycle of samsara and Monica's decision. In Buddhist philosophy, samsara represents the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, wherein souls are born into different lives and experiences, driven by their past actions, karma, and the need for spiritual growth. This cycle is not seen as something that traps individuals, but rather as an opportunity for evolution and enlightenment. The goal in Buddhism is to break free from samsara through attaining enlightenment and achieving nirvana, which represents freedom from suffering and the endless cycle of birth and death. Monica's decision to return to the living is, in many ways, a reflection of her recognition that her soul has more to learn, more to teach, and more to contribute. Her fear of her family's suffering without her reveals an essential human experience, the weight of attachment. In Buddhist terms, attachment to loved ones and to life itself can create suffering, dukkha, and this is precisely where Monica finds herself at a crossroads. While she feels connected to her family, her decision to return suggests that her work on earth, her spiritual journey, is not yet complete. This notion of returning to life to continue the process of spiritual evolution is illustrated in the teachings of famous figures such as the Dalai Lama, who emphasizes the impermanence of life and the constant need for growth. The Dalai Lama, through his teachings and actions, illustrates that the journey of the soul is ongoing. Even after decades of spiritual leadership, he continues to teach, evolve, and learn from his experiences. Similarly, Monica's return to life signifies that even when we think we have reached the end, there is always more to learn and more to experience in the journey of self-realization and spiritual growth. Monica's decision aligns with the concept of spiritual evolution. Just as Buddhist monks meditate for years in the hope of understanding the impermanence of life and transcending suffering, Monica's return marks her recognition that she still has the potential to grow beyond the lessons she has already learned. Her choice to return to the physical world is a spiritual one. It is an acknowledgement that life is not simply about escaping suffering, but rather about using that suffering to learn, grow, and contribute to the world in meaningful ways. The role of attachment and compassion. Monica's fear of her family's suffering is another important aspect of her decision. This emotion speaks to a fundamental human experience, the attachment to loved ones and the desire to protect them from pain. In Buddhist teachings, attachment is often cited as a major source of suffering. However, Monica's attachment to her family is not portrayed as a flaw. Rather, it is an expression of compassion, an emotion that is often revered in spiritual traditions. The role of compassion in Monica's decision is striking. Compassion in both Buddhist and Western spiritual thought is a central force in the evolution of the soul. It is through compassion that we begin to understand the interconnectedness of all beings and the impact of our actions on others. In Monica's case, her decision to return is a compassionate act, driven by her understanding that her family's well-being is an integral part of her own spiritual path. In Buddhist terms, her return is an act of bodhisattva, a being who has attained enlightenment but chooses to remain in the world to help others achieve the same. This decision mirrors the life of figures like Mother Teresa, who dedicated her life to serving the poor and suffering, knowing that her actions would not only help those in need, but also fulfill her own spiritual path. Mother Teresa's life was a reflection of the idea that helping others, showing compassion, is one of the highest purposes we can fulfill as human beings. Monica's fear and sense of responsibility toward her family resonate with this idea, as she feels an obligation to continue her spiritual work in the world of the living, ensuring that her actions benefit others as well as herself. Fear and free will, choosing the path forward. In Monica's journey, fear becomes a key emotion when she realizes the impact of her absence on her family. This is not the fear of death itself, but the fear of leaving those she loves in pain. It is a universal fear, the fear of not being there for loved ones and the desire to be of service. Monica's decision to return to the physical world is an expression of her free will, an understanding that, although death may have offered her peace, her role in life was not yet finished. This theme of choice and free will is echoed in the life of someone like Nelson Mandela, who faced imprisonment for his beliefs but never wavered in his commitment to his people. Despite the personal suffering he endured, Mandela chose to continue fighting for justice, knowing that his journey was not just about his own liberation, but the liberation of others. His decision to lead his people, even after years of incarceration, represents the same kind of spiritual evolution that Monica experiences when she chooses to return to life. Mandela's decision was deeply influenced by his sense of responsibility to his people and his belief that his work was not yet done. Similarly, Monica's decision to return to life is grounded in her belief that she has more to give, more to teach, and more to experience. Both Monica and Mandela show that even in the face of suffering, the ability to make a conscious choice to continue on one's path is a powerful act of will and spiritual insight. The role of fear in spiritual growth. Interestingly, fear also plays a key role in Monica's decision-making process. While fear is often seen as something to be avoided or overcome, it is an essential part of spiritual growth. In Buddhism, fear is not suppressed but acknowledged and understood as a natural part of the human experience. Fear arises from attachment to the self and to the things we hold dear, but by embracing fear, we can transcend it and find deeper peace. Monica's fear of her family's suffering is an example of this. Rather than ignoring her fear or trying to escape it, Monica chooses to confront it by making the decision to return. In doing so, she transforms her fear into compassion and responsibility. This is a profound spiritual lesson, showing that fear is not something to be feared, but something to be understood and worked through in order to progress on the spiritual path. The return, a continuation of the journey. Ultimately, Monica's decision to return to the physical world symbolizes the ongoing journey of the soul. It suggests that even after death, there is work to be done, lessons to be learned, and growth to be achieved. This mirrors the Buddhist understanding of samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for continuous spiritual growth. Monica's return also represents the possibility of spiritual evolution within the physical world. Her journey teaches us that even when we feel that our work is done or that we have reached the end, there is always more to be learned and experienced. It is through the choices we make, whether to continue on our spiritual path or to help others along theirs, that we continue to evolve not just in the next life, but in this one as well. In this way, Monica's decision is not just about life or death, but about the continuous journey of the soul. It is an invitation to all of us to recognize that our spiritual path is ongoing, and that each choice, each moment, is an opportunity to learn, grow, and make a difference in the world around us. Monica's return to life after experiencing death serves as a profound and transformative moment in her journey. When she awakens, the rawness of life hits her with full force. The physical sensations she once took for granted, the weight of her limbs, the steady pulse of her heart, and the oxygen flowing into her lungs, are now experienced with a new depth. In this rebirth, Monica's understanding of life undergoes a significant shift. She realizes that life is not just about surviving, but about living with intention, mindfulness, and purpose. This realization is pivotal, as it highlights how the experience of death and the afterlife can radically change one's perspective on life itself. The rawness of life and the ephemeral nature of existence. Monica's re-entry into the physical world introduces her to the raw reality of life, its immediacy, its intensity, and its brevity. While many people experience the physical sensations of life without much reflection, Monica now feels them with deep awareness. The pain she experiences in her body is not just physical. It's a reminder of her mortality and the fleeting nature of her existence. This awakening to the rawness of life emphasizes an important spiritual lesson, the recognition that life, like everything else, is impermanent. This idea of impermanence, or anicca, is a central teaching in Buddhism. It stresses that all things are temporary and subject to change. Monica's experience highlights how we often take life for granted and forget that it can be taken away at any moment. The sudden return to her body after having experienced death forces Monica to confront this reality. Her awareness of life's impermanence allows her to appreciate it on a much deeper level than before. This shift in perspective is transformative, and it reflects the way many great spiritual figures, such as the Dalai Lama, speak about the fleeting nature of life. The Dalai Lama often reminds his followers that death is inevitable, and therefore, we should live with compassion, mindfulness, and purpose, as we do not know when our time will come. Similarly, Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, famously said in his commencement speech at Stanford University, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." Jobs, who faced his own mortality after being diagnosed with cancer, had a deep awareness of how precious and finite life is. His words echo the wisdom that Monica learns in her second chance at life, that we should not simply survive life, but live it with intention, compassion, and awareness. The transformation through forgiveness, compassion, and mindfulness. Monica's second chance at life isn't just about returning to the physical world. It's about embracing a new mindset, a mindset that emphasizes forgiveness, compassion, and mindfulness in every action. These values become central to her journey and mark the beginning of her spiritual evolution. Her experiences in the afterlife didn't just provide her with an understanding of death. They reshaped her understanding of life itself. The awareness she gained about the ephemeral nature of existence led her to see the importance of living mindfully and with compassion in every moment. Forgiveness plays a significant role in Monica's transformation. Before her death, she may have carried unresolved anger or grudges, which many people do throughout their lives. However, in her afterlife experience, she likely witnessed the toll that these negative emotions take, not just on the individual but on others as well. This is a powerful realization, one that mirrors the teachings of spiritual leaders like Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi's life was a testament to the power of forgiveness, even in the face of immense suffering. His famous quote, "The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong," illustrates how forgiving others is not only an act of compassion, but also a way to release ourselves from the shackles of anger and resentment. Monica's journey reflects the Buddhist teaching that letting go of hatred and anger is essential for spiritual growth. By choosing to forgive, both others and herself, Monica frees her heart from the burdens of resentment. This act of forgiveness becomes a form of liberation, allowing her to move forward in her life with a lighter, more open heart. It is a reminder that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond, and forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for healing. In addition to forgiveness, compassion becomes another cornerstone of Monica's transformation. Compassion is central to nearly every major spiritual tradition, and it is a driving force behind many of the most influential figures in history. The Buddha himself emphasized compassion as a key to enlightenment, teaching that by acting with kindness and empathy toward others, we not only benefit those around us, but also nurture our own spiritual growth. Similarly, Mother Teresa's life was a testament to the transformative power of compassion. Her tireless work with the poor and sick in Calcutta, India, demonstrated how a life of selfless love can change the world. Monica, in embracing compassion, learns to approach life with a sense of connectedness to others, realizing that her actions, however small, have the power to create positive ripples. The role of mindfulness in Monica's new life. Mindfulness, or the practice of being fully present in the moment without judgment, is another lesson Monica learns through her second chance at life. Mindfulness is a key teaching in Buddhism, and it has gained widespread popularity in the West, particularly in the context of mental health and stress reduction. By living mindfully, we are able to appreciate each moment fully, without being distracted by past regrets or future anxieties. Monica's transformation through mindfulness is a powerful reminder of how being present can radically change our lives. When we are mindful, we are able to engage more deeply with the world around us, with our loved ones, and with ourselves. Mindfulness also allows us to be more intentional in our actions. In the same way, the famous psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, argued that finding meaning in every moment, even in suffering, is essential for a fulfilling life. His life and work, particularly his book Man's Search for Meaning, show how mindfulness and purpose are keys to overcoming the difficulties we face in life. Monica's journey echoes this idea. She learns to live intentionally, with a sense of awareness and presence that she didn't have before. A journey of spiritual awakening and purpose. Monica's second chance at life is not merely about surviving or returning to her old life. It is a spiritual awakening that allows her to live with deeper meaning and purpose. This transformation represents the journey many people undergo when they confront their own mortality or suffering. It's a reminder that life is not just about the external circumstances we find ourselves in, but about how we engage with those circumstances, how we respond, and how we choose to live. This shift in perspective is similar to the stories of other influential figures who have undergone profound transformations in the face of hardship or near-death experiences. One such figure is Malala Yousafzai, who, after surviving an assassination attempt by the Taliban, became an advocate for girls' education worldwide. Malala's experience of violence and near-death did not defeat her spirit. Rather, it propelled her to live with a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to making the world a better place. Like Monica, Malala's awakening brought about a deeper understanding of life's purpose, living not just for oneself but for the greater good. In the same vein, figures like Nelson Mandela, who spent years in prison fighting for freedom, also experienced a transformation that reshaped their view of life. After his release, Mandela focused not on revenge, but on reconciliation and building a better future for South Africa. His return to life was not just about reclaiming his freedom, but about committing to a higher purpose, one that transcended personal suffering. Living with intention, Monica's new path. Monica's second chance at life is marked by a deep commitment to living intentionally. She understands that every moment, every decision, and every interaction carries meaning. Her transformation reflects a universal truth, that life is not simply about surviving, but about living with purpose, compassion, and mindfulness. The rawness of her return to life, her awareness of her physical body and the fleeting nature of life, empowers her to live in a way that honors the impermanence of existence while embracing the opportunity to make a difference. Monica's story serves as a powerful reminder that death, while inevitable, is not the end but a catalyst for transformation. Her second chance at life provides her with the wisdom to live with deeper awareness, and her experience reflects the potential for growth that exists in all of us. By living intentionally, forgiving others, and embracing compassion, we can all transform our lives into journeys of meaning and purpose, just as Monica has done with hers. Monica's second chance at life is a profound reminder that we are all given the opportunity to transform our lives, no matter where we are on our journey. Her awakening, from a return to the physical realm to a deeper understanding of the impermanence of existence, shows us that life is not just about surviving, but about living intentionally, with mindfulness, compassion, and purpose. By embracing forgiveness and transcending past regrets, Monica teaches us that every choice we make matters, not only for our own growth but for the greater good of the world around us. Her story is a call to action, to live with purpose, to appreciate every moment, and to understand that our spiritual journey is ongoing. Remember, it's not about waiting for the next life to get it right. It's about embracing the wisdom in this one. Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to Buddhism Wisdom Teachings for more insights into the soul's journey and the transformative power of mindfulness.